Welcome to Scale Her Up, the show for female business owners and leaders who want to grow profitable, sustainable businesses without burning out. I'm Dr. Brenda Hector, a business growth specialist helping women and others to develop themselves and their businesses so they can achieve their goals and enjoy the lifestyle they dream of. In each episode, you'll hear inspiring stories, honest conversations, and practical strategies to help you start, grow, or scale your business. If you're new here, hit follow so you don't miss an episode and come and join the Facebook community at Scale Her Up to keep the conversations going. And today I have Cecilia Righini of Studio Lutalica with me on the show. Cecilia, thank you very much for coming on.
Hi, everybody. I'm Cecilia. Lovely to meet you, Brenda. I'm very excited about this conversation.
So let's start. I'm also excited. I want to know more about Studio Lutalica. What is it that you do there?
Yeah, so Studio Lutalica is a non-profit design agency. Think about your classic graphic design. So we do branding, websites, kind of editorial design, but we specifically work with feminist and LGBTQ plus communities and with communities and organizations. So either charities that support these communities specifically or with founders from these communities, even if they're like focusing on something else than by supporting the community itself. We have been going for about 5 years now, a bit longer than 5 years. Started as a limited company, operated like that for about 3 years, and then moved our kind of legal structure to a community interest company. We're limited by guarantee, which means that we are all effectively a non-profit, which is really exciting and definitely a space that we're very proud to be in.
Fantastic. So there's two clear areas there that I need to dig down in. And oh my goodness, that's my doorbell. Give me a second.
No problem at all.
So sorry about that.
That's okay.
Let me try
Doing
again.
that from home,
It
isn't it?
is, it's the week before Christmas, and the one who works in the home office is the one that has to take the delivery of the parcels.
Of course, always.
Yes, so I've written down two things there, and I'm going to start off with one of them, and I'll come back to the other one. Okay, one is your niche.
Yes.
Okay, so I've gone through a process myself of knowing that I had a particular area that I wanted to focus on, but thinking, oh, I can't do that because there's not enough business there. And
Mm.
actually, and it meant that my heart wasn't in it. And now been more deliberate about the type of clients that I'm looking for. And I'm much more excited about my business now.
Yeah.
So tell me about your niche. Did you always know that was the focus for you, or and has it been difficult? Has it actually been hard to find clients in that particular space, or has it been, yeah, tell me a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, I always love this question. I feel like I get that a lot, and especially in more kind of traditional spaces, I get it with a sort of question like, isn't it weird though? Isn't it like bad for your business to do that? Aren't you just reducing your target audience, as you said? And on the contrary, I'm going to start by saying that actually is one of the best things that I possibly could have done for my business if we are just sticking to the kind of like business model perspective. But then on the other side, and I'll get more to it, but on the other side, it was a necessity for me. I identify as non-binary, as queer. I have very early on in my career, I've gone through quite a lot of really unpleasant kind of work environments where I've been through a lot of discrimination, like from microaggression to not so microaggression. And I really wanted to find a place for me that my identity was not going to be a problem. And I had volunteers a lot for LGBT charities at that point as a designer, like supporting with marketing, social media, etc. And I was really thinking, wouldn't it be great if this was the thing that I do? Wouldn't it be fantastic to have a studio that only supposes people and work in a bubble in a way? And for a long time, it was like, no, that's impossible. No one is going to want that. And similarly to you, thinking like, that's not probably the market for that, especially because LGBT organizations and women organizations are famously the ones with less money. So how are we going to do this? And then it was during the pandemic that I started another job in a web development agency, which was very open and progressive and was fantastic and was a great experience for me. And at the same time, I was like trying to explore how I could still support the community doing what I loved. And I started to do a lot of freelancing, and immediately people came to me for all sorts of like different design services, so much that I couldn't really keep it up by myself, especially with a full-time job on the side. The niche, I realized that the niche then by your audience is, and the easier it is for the voice to spread in the community. So it's incredible how fast we were able to actually grow, especially in terms of the size of clients and the size of organizations that we work with, the size of contracts that we get in such a short space of time as a young company, especially a young company run by someone that when I started I was 25. So I was absolutely nobody. So it's been really fantastic both on a business level, because yeah, you become famous on that niche and then immediately, not to mention SEO, people Googling queer design or LGBT studios, feminist work, and we are up there. But then also there's the component of the personal involvement, which you mentioned in terms of like when you're so passionate about what you do, when you put your heart into it, you're going to do something much better. And I feel like you're going to be happier at the end of the day, especially if we think about work. It's taking up so much of our times as individuals, as people, rather than as just professional. And yeah, so thinking really through that lens as well, I was able to create this kind of space where our identity is important in the sense that we all understand it and we all take it for what it is, and it's very respectful. It's not what we necessarily are shouting about every day, because we don't need to, because we
Yeah.
understand who we are. And
Yeah.
that's really brilliant and refreshing, because every other space that I go into is often a conversation about my gender identity, about discrimination, about which has absolutely the kind of, there is space for that, which is very important, but I do not want to have that every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I'm hearing it, you've created a place that that feels comfortable for you when there were other spaces in your career that haven't been. And as a result, other people feel comfortable in that space too. And yeah. And
Absolutely.
judgment's really heavy. The weight of judgment's really heavy. So you don't have to have that where,
No.
yeah.
And it's so amazing. Very early on, we started really rethinking about also what professional means like, because often we're thinking about, oh, it's a man in a suit, and that's the kind of image in your head. And we're really trying hard to think about, no, professional means that you're respectful, you are understanding, you listen, you try to strive for like doing the better work that you can, that kind of you show up for meetings when you agree that you do. But why does it matter if I'm wearing a suit or if I am wearing sweatpants at the end of the day? In fact, if I am comfortable, I'm going to do a much better
Yeah.
job. I'm going to be less nervous. I'm going to be less, yeah, thinking about all the time, like being self-aware. And especially for, I mean, myself, of course, I have autism and ADHD as well. So that's a big part of my identity. And having that space to just be able to show up and say, oh, by the way, sorry, I have ADHD. So if I zone out or if I ask you to repeat something, I'm sorry, that's like my disability. And the amount of people that just respond, oh, me too, don't worry, it's okay. It really taking away that mask immediately just allows you to really go that into that creative space, which is what we want to do at the end of the day. And
So do
tap,
you have, sorry, I didn't mean to
no,
cut you.
no,
Yeah.
and then like tap into that lived experience as well, which is so important.
So do you have a team?
Yes.
Yes. So then that's another question I've got around your team. Yeah, tell me about your team.
Yeah. So we're now as 6 employees, 6 of us, and we work also with a pool of freelancer, usually about 10 people, 10, 15 people at the time. But we have a larger kind of group of people that we work with and we do work with. Yeah, and the theme is something that has always been there. When I started Lutalica, I knew what I didn't want to do. I knew what I was not good at. So immediately as I started, I got an accountant and I got someone to help me out with some of the admin to help me manage all of the different projects that were coming in. And especially because very early on, I was asked to design websites and build websites. I had a design background, but not a development one. So getting someone in to also do that work. So it grew really organically. And the fact that also I had a full-time job for the first kind of year and a half of, if not,
Something to talk about in a minute as well. Okay.
yeah. Yeah, even 2 years probably. Like I went part-time at some point, but the fact that I had that meant that I could, on one side, give some of that money into I didn't have to pay myself, and I could actually pay some other people to do the things that I couldn't do. Yeah, so that's basically, it's gone really organically, and I would not imagine in a million years doing this without anyone else. That is not where my skills are. Like my background is in design management. I'm not a designer per se. I'm a strategist. I do not want to be all of the to be the person that does like all of the admin or all the even like the creative work per se is like not the thing that I do very well. Yeah, it's a big team, and I absolutely love it. I wouldn't have it any other way.
And I guess the people that you bring on board to the team have got similar values and are very much aligned with you and the type of customers that you're working with. Yeah.
Absolutely, and that's really important. And obviously, I find it quite funny that you can't technically say we only hire women or LGBTQ plus people because that's discrimination for men. Which, yeah, okay, fair. But what we do is saying you need to have the same values, and that's really important because we do work with organizations that deal with very vulnerable communities as well, and it wouldn't make any sense to like work with someone that doesn't have that understanding of that, especially when we preach as a company that lived experience is so important in the work that we do. So we also tend to match really the each kind of project that we get to a freelancer, to a team that not only has that expertise from a technical perspective, but also has that lived experience. Because again, when you care about what you do, you're going to bring something else that is not just like that, oh, I need to get this done. And that passion really, I think, is what shines through the projects that we do compared to maybe other agency that might work like with Greenpeace and Shell. And it's just how do you reckon that? Yeah.
So tell me about the going from a limited company to the non-profit then. What the decision process and the the journey of that. I would imagine that there's a few steps that you need to take to make that happen.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I we I always wonder why we didn't just start as a community interest company in the first place, because that makes would have made perfect sense. But it was simply because I didn't know it existed. We started as a limited company, which is so easy, right? You just go online, there's a little form, takes about 5 minutes, £8 or something like that. It's still the same amount, and you've got a limited company. But with the community interest company, it's a completely different thing. And it's not as specific and difficult as it is with a charity, but there's still a lot of bureaucracy around like stating like your mission, why is it for not for profit, and yeah, it's just like filling out a few forms, and there is a lot
So
of, sorry.
why would you go CIC and not charity? Just so
Mhm.
anybody who's listening and thinking, yeah, I'm doing this and I want it to be for the good of
Yeah,
society and I want a charity. Why would you go for CIC or charity?
very simple reason. Charity, you can't be political. So aside of your own, of the communities that you serve, you can't be political. You can't basically stick your nose into anything that is not the mission that you were set up to support.
Okay.
And we wouldn't, that's not where we wanted to be. We wanted to be a non-profit, and that was really important because in a very ethical, from an ethical perspective for me, when I think about I'm a founder, I started this company, yes, but then so many people are doing the work. Who am I to say everything that you produce, all of the profits is actually mine? I'm not really comfortable with that idea. So I've never really taken, even when I was taking dividends, because my accountant would say this is the most tax effective way of doing it, I had a very much transparent, this is what I'm taking. This is like every month is the same approach. So then when we realized, hey, we're already operating very much like a CIC anyway, why are we still a limited company? So that's when we decided to switch. And yeah, it's the idea of not being able to be political. That's what scares me, because especially in this moment, this historical moment, I feel like it's so important to have that, to take a stand, and not only for the specific things that we work on, but really in an intersectional way. And that's like kind of one of our values, like intersectional feminism. So like thinking about not only women, but all of the different identities that intersect with that. For us is really important to think about also like race and disability and class and all of these things that make identity. And we wouldn't be able to like not take a stand for the things that we feel are right. Yeah, so that's like the main reason for not being a charity.
And then the profits then are not yours as the founder or the owner. How are they? Are they? Yeah. What? Just
Yeah.
so I can understand what you're doing with them. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And this is another great thing about being a community interest company rather than a charity. We don't have that kind of restriction in terms of like how we can use the money, because we are effectively a business. So we sell services, and everything that we take, we need to spend within the community, right? That means that I can't just take it out as dividends, but it needs to stay within the nonprofit. And it doesn't have really a limit of like how long can it stay for, as maybe for some charities had, depending on the funding. So what we are currently doing is setting up a community impact program, which means that everything that we get that is surplus, we invest into doing pro bono work with the communities. Before it was not as formalized, and we were like offering a certain percentage of the work that we do pro bono. So within the first 5 years, we've already offered more than £40,000. We delivered more than £14,000 of pro bono work, which we're really proud of. And now we're trying to expand that, especially because being a non-profit, we can also start maybe relying a little bit more on donations and grants. The idea is to go out there, get those funds, and really redistribute them in the community. And I think there's a lot of power in that, because obviously when you do go and donate directly to a charity, that money is going to be used for many things. You might not know exactly what it is, but donating directly to us would mean that we can really maximize the impact of that donation. We can think about who needs it the most in terms of what are the budgets. We can think about what do they actually need. Sometimes people go and think that I need a new shiny website, when actually you need some work done in branding, for example. And so we can really do that work with the organizations to spread how that money can be used to maximize that impact. So it's a hard journey, because I think the hardest thing is that we don't really, as a B2B business, at the end of the day, we really struggle to show the impact that is not like direct, as someone calls it. We're not supporting like the end user, but we're supporting the organization that does the support. But one example that we often use is when we support a homelessness charity, for example. Yes, we are not responsible directly for someone to not be homeless, but we could very well help someone get a bed for the night if the website is well done and has all of the information that it needs to have in the way that people can easily access it. So yes, it's demonstrated that impact that is becoming has always been a challenge, and we're kind of working through.
No, it's great. Yeah. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Let's talk about Cecilia then. What have you what have you learned about yourself on your journey as a business owner and founding the business? And because that's a question I ask most of my guests, and it's a journey of discovery, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, the first thing that comes into mind when you ask that is like my disability. I did not know I had a disability. I could have guessed if I had the tools, but being a founder definitely made me realize, yes, I do have ADHD, and how to find not only coping mechanisms around it, but find the help that I needed.
I think there are quite a few founders, business owners, self-employed people who are ADHD Don't know the statistics. You might have a better idea than me, but
Yeah, if I remember correctly, we are 3 times more likely to start our own business if we have ADHD, and that's due to the fact that, like many kind of things, the fact that we have a problem with authority, so we don't like being told what to do. The fact that we need to have a very flexible schedule and ways of working because our brain work in a different way, right? Sometimes when you get like in a workplace and you have very rigid structures, it's really hard for us to show up, and we might look like the ones that are lazy or not trying hard enough or not care, which is really sad. So then the only possible way for us to make it work is if we go and do our own thing. And because we're so passionate and we can really focus and go into that hyper focus phase, we can work for so hard for so long and in ways that I feel like neurotypical people don't quite do. And obviously it's not all good. We burn out quite easily as well through that.
how did you discover that you had ADHD then?
It was mostly like my team that was like that nudged me in that direction because I saw on social media some things, but it was like, oh, I can't be me really. Oh my God, no, I'm just being a drama queen. Of course, this is not what it is. But yeah, there were moments where yeah, people was just like, have you considered that maybe that's what's going on for you? I was like, oh no, I come on. And I remember going to the doctor one day going, okay, maybe that's a thing and I have to try and pursue this thing. And I went to the doctor and there was a mental health nurse there that said, yeah, if you really want to complete the form, the self-referral form, that's okay. We'll do it. Like, fine. You seem so well put together. Like you're even running your own company. Like you're doing all of these things. I don't think that's what's going on.
Is what they call gaslighting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's it, right? I was just like, I go there, I find the courage to advocate for myself and to say, this is what I need. And I don't know if I want to explore like meds or this or that, but I do want to understand what's going on with me. And someone just says, oh no, but you have your own company, so you couldn't possibly. Wow.
It couldn't just be that you've coped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially for people who are assigned female at birth and like women, it's really we've been told from very early on, girls are not supposed to act like that. You need to be not emotional. You need to be calm. You can't be aggressive, and you really learn to mask very quickly. There are so many rules about what it means to be a woman that very quickly you just assimilate everything that you can within that, and you just play that role for so long. And this is why, for so many women, an ADHD diagnosis comes really late in life because we are not the disruptive boy that like cannot sit still at the desk. We are the people that have burnouts and mental health crises when they're in their 30s. So it's a really interesting conversation, and I feel like it's becoming more clear now that yeah, I don't think that it's a spectrum. The whole thing is a spectrum, but there's definitely, I'm starting to think like what is neurotypical really, and rather how much of the kind of the symptoms that you might have impact your daily life and how much you need help and support to be productive and to do all of the things that are required of you. It's tough.
I'm getting quite in depth into this now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that somebody who assumes they're neurotypical because they've not had any told otherwise, if you like, and assumes that everybody else thinks the same way that they do, and
Mm,
then struggles but doesn't know why they struggle. That must be really difficult. So
I
like
know.
nowadays that it's much more common for older women to be talking about it, and it because it was like a misbehaving little boys. Can't think what the word I'm looking for is, but like
Stereotype.
yeah, that was what we saw ADHD as little boys that were misbehaving in class and couldn't sit still and whatever. But actually, it's becoming a much more commonly spoken about in like menopausal women, perimenopausal women. It comes out then because the hormones are all over the place and they can't
Mask.
they can't mask it any longer. Yeah. So
Yeah.
no, I think it's great that it's being talked about so that people can go, oh, maybe not everybody
Yeah.
thinks the way I do and struggles the way I do, and yeah.
Yeah, and I sometimes get very, I would say, philosophical about these things. I've done a master in gender studies and I love talking about these things, but there's something that also then come to play when, in terms of realizing, hold on a minute, who are the people that actually this whole system is working for? Who wants,
Who set it up?
who is it that actually wants us to work 8 hours a day for 5 days a week and also do this and that and like never rest and be like, who is it? Because at the end of the day, we're not the ones that end up like being like rich and you're like, oh, okay. So there's some like capitalism and things. And you start thinking about how actually it's neurotypical as well. It's not even just a gender kind of like conversation here, but it's very much like I don't think that the way that we work and we're used to work at this stage is suited for anybody really. So it's aside from just a few people that want you to do that so that they can get richer. So
I had a conversation on a podcast interview yesterday
mm,
around the school system and how whose idea was it that schools finished at 3 o'clock and the working
yeah,
day goes to 5:30?
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Who's the one that's juggling and having to do the school pickup and still
yeah.
try to work a job or run a business? Yeah,
Exactly. So
yeah.
I find it really fascinating when like I meet some women that say I'm not a feminist. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Do you like first of all, do you know what being a feminist means? Because it's not thinking that women are more important than men. That's like wildly not the point. But it really takes you just a little bit of realization of just like looking around and what everything around us is designed for that makes you understand that actually we were never the user, that we were never the reason that systems and things are designed for.
My,
So,
yeah, my friend
yeah,
has a jumper that says, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention.
exactly. Exactly. That's it. And that doesn't mean that we have to be always like the angry killjoy that they portray feminists as. But I think being aware and
Mhm.
call out when systems are not designed for us is really important
Yeah,
because someone got to change that.
yeah. And yeah, the school thing, that will change. That will have
Mhm.
to change because the it's going to impact the availability of people to work. I'm
Of
surprised
course.
it's not changed already, but yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting quite down a sidetrack there, and we're supposed to be talking about business. Yeah, yeah, we're talking about what you've learned on your journey. So the next thing I'd like to ask is, who supported you on your through starting your business as a side hustle, building it up, going to the non-profit status? Who's been there? Where have you got the support? Because you can't do it on your own, can you?
Yeah, no, it's a very interesting question, and I think it's not a very direct this person or this thing. And when I started it, I felt really lonely, and there was part of me that was considering how do I go and look for a co-founder potentially or someone that can support with that. But I also was a little scared of compromising on values and ways of working. Again, ADHD. But yeah, it felt really lonely to start with. But that's why I always heavily relied on the team in a way that we set up a organization that is I don't like the kind of like flat structure idea of everyone is absolutely equal. Of course, there is like a series of someone that has more responsibility than others, and but from a showing up as ideas and bring in your experience, everyone is at the same level. So if we need to do anything in the business that works, if I'm unsure about something, I always bring it to the team. There's never been a moment where I've been like nervous about doing something and kind of not speaking to them about it. We have a manifesto as well that we put together as a group. And that's really important because every time that we've got this like challenging situation, we look back at it and how do we want to operate? And it's a very practical tool that keep us in track. So that's been fantastic to have that. And I feel like I didn't know that then that I was already setting up my own support system within the company without having to go out. And then a couple of years later, we started like getting a bit more support from business advisors, and then got into an accelerator program and got help from First Sport, which is we support social entrepreneurs in Scotland, and it is absolutely brilliant. So yeah, like different programs here and there, and we took what we needed from all of the different kind of situations. And in the last couple of years, I had a board, obviously, with the CAC, which has been fantastic, and especially one of them became our managing director, and she is, I call her my work wife, because we are. She really understands absolutely everything that is going on for me, and is able to support me in a way that, yeah, it's almost like a co-founder relationship in a way, because really help us set up for scale. Like I have all of the big ideas, all of the big kind of we should innovate this, we should fix these things, we should fix this process, and she's yes, and resources, capacity, money, and I really need that grounding. So yeah, I feel like the support is really coming from within, and it was for us like really important to understand where are the things that we're not able to do ourselves, and go out, and where can we go out and ask, who can we ask, who can we get the support, and be quite specific about it. Yeah, we had a couple of experiences with, for example, Business Getaway, or a couple of others, kind of like smaller support, and wasn't the easiest kind of relationship, because we often got, as we started the conversation, we were saying like, oh, but are you unsure like that if your target audience is like just like this niche, that your business is not going to go well because you don't have enough market, and so, and it's okay, you're actually not getting where we go, where what we're doing. You're not getting where we're at. It's hard to find the right support. It's out there, but it's really hard to find the right people. It's definitely been a journey for us, but I don't feel lonely anymore, which is awesome.
Great. No, it's really good that you said that there at the beginning of that answer, that in the beginning you felt lonely, because I think that's really common. Anybody that's interested and thinking of going down this route, or has started and are feeling that, yeah, it's normal. But there are people out there that if you ask for support, they'll help you.
And would love to help you. And it's really overwhelming how much support there is, and how tricky it is to like just knowing where to start.
Like
um
you said, choose the right support. His name's Michael Heppel. He's an author and a motivational speaker, and he talks about advice as being like a Marks and Spencer's Christmas jumper, right? So it's a gift you get from your auntie, and you can be really appreciative of it. You can take it back to Marky's and get money. So, like, advice is something that people like to give, but you don't have to. You don't have to keep it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's really important. I feel like, yeah, you're correct, and Neil, on that. Like, I feel like it's really important to remember that, because we take it quite personally. I'm almost like a failure sometimes if someone gives you advice and you're not able to do it, or if it doesn't feel good for you and it's something in your gut tells you not to do it, but you feel like you have to do it anyway because someone said that. Yeah, it's really tricky to, and I feel like this is one of the things that I have learned as well about myself, going back to that question, is to trust my gut, because I feel like I've got really good instincts. And I doubted that for so long. And now running my own company made me realize, no, I actually got it. I think there's something, that there's a confidence somewhere that I don't know where it's from, but make sure that I make the right decisions, and I need to listen to that.
That's a brilliant message. Yeah, because so many of us, particularly women of all kinds, have been told not to trust that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. We've been taught to ignore it, and actually, when you start paying attention to it, that's when great things start. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So, if you could go back to meet your 18-year-old self, Cecilia, what advice would you give her? Them.
Ah,
Sorry, I
no,
can't believe
you're
I
all
did that.
good. Yeah, they're them. Yeah. Oh, that is a very tricky question. Rather than advise, I think I would say it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I think I always doubted that I would be able to find my way and to find something that worked for me. As a professional, as a like on a personal level, I always thought And maybe because I didn't have that understanding of ADHD and queerness and gender, and I just thought I wasn't fitting anywhere and I was really struggling. So every time I think about my, if I think about my 18-year-old self, I'm thinking, You're gonna find it. You'll be okay. You'll get there, and you just have to try."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that simple. And probably my 18-year-old would have slapped me in the face because what advice is that? But I think there's something about, yeah, that reassurance that and calm in knowing that
Going to be okay.
it's going to be okay. Yeah.
I think that's a valuable piece of advice to anyone, whether they're, yeah, whatever age they are. Yeah. Cecilia, that's been an absolute pleasure. I didn't when we were talking about you coming on, I really wasn't sure where the conversation was going to go, and but honestly, there's so many good things in that. I've taken lots from it. I'm sure my listeners have too. It's been, yeah, an absolute pleasure to meet you and learn your story. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun to talk.
And thank you for listening to Scale Her Up. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show and leave a review. It helps more female and other business owners find us. Come and join our Scale Her Up Facebook community to get support, accountability, and connection with other women who get it. And remember, only 1 in 3 UK entrepreneurs are female, and men are still 5 times more likely to scale their business beyond £1 million in turnover than women are. When we start and scale our businesses to the same extent as men, we'll add 250 billion to the UK economy and create millions of jobs. You can do it, and your business can make a massive difference.